Marquee game of the weekend in the Bubbly Invitational Top 25 matchup in Gainesville. The Florida Gators host the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Last night this game was rained out, so take two on this one. The Gators and Ragin' Cajuns from KSP in Gainesville, Florida. With that, we welcome you inside. Kyle Crooks, three-time All-American Francesca Ney. So glad that you could join us today. Second game of the doubleheader for the Florida Gators. This is the big game, the marquee matchup, whatever you want to call it, of the game, of all the games this weekend.
And this is going to be a tough test for both of these teams. I mean, anytime they compete against one another, it's highly competitive. Louisiana has such strong talent, and they're scrappy, so it's going to be a great game in this afternoon.
And for those that didn't watch the first game, the Florida Gators beat the Mercer Bears 8-0, but the headliner, Riley Trillicek, complete game no-hitter, second of her career.
And Trillicek was on fire earlier today, just utilizing that drop ball going east and west. She was painting the inside corner, and those Mercer Bears just could not determine, how do I get underneath that ball? She had 10 ground ball outs, and that's when you know Riley Trillicek is feeling herself.
Yeah, there's the final line for Riley. 5 innings, no hits, of course, 2 strikeouts and a walk. 33rd complete game no-hitter in program history. And the Gators will go with a different pitcher inside the circle, go from the lefty to the righty here in Game 2. Will be Lexi Delbray, spotless ERA in 19 innings, 3-0 beginning, coming off a victory against UCF on Wednesday.
Someone like Lexi Delbray, just a sophomore in her season, she has a lot of spin within her repertoire. She's going to utilize a rise ball, a drop ball, so she can go up and down and then also flip a change.
Jerry Glasgow's squad, Jerry in his 6th season in Louisiana. Maya Davis is the one to look out for. Davis hitting .462, has 22 stolen bases this year, a lineup hitting over 300. A lot of power and pop, 24 home runs this year. We get set to get underway, like we mentioned, the marquee game of the Bubbly Invitational, rematch of a series in 2020 when Louisiana took 2 of 3. We're underway. First pitch is a strike from Lexi Delbray. 1:32 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us here on this Saturday afternoon. Supposed to play this game last night. Initially went into a weather delay, and then the rain just kept coming on down. As Maya Davis scorches one off the glove of Gels, but perfectly Walsh positioned to shovel on to first for the out. And it's important to keep Davis off the bases if you're the Gators.
Yeah, and instantly the Florida Gators defense was playing Davis pretty tight because she's that short power slapper, but Davis pulls this ball and hammers it to the first baseman Gels that could not get a good handle on it, but thankfully backing up second baseman Reagan Walsh being able to flip it and secure the out.
That's your traditional 3-4-3 out at first base to get Davis.
Super traditional.
Super traditional. Maddie Hayden now stands in, hitting .314. A little bit of a different test for the Gators here in Game 2. Louisiana 14-8. They've played a packed schedule to begin their season. Got off to a 5-0 start. They're one of the teams that went to the Clearwater Invitational, lost 5 straight there. Losses to Michigan, number 5 Oklahoma State, number 4 Arkansas, number 2 UCLA, number 7 FSU. They have the second toughest strength of schedule in the country. Here's the 0-2. Hayden takes strike 3, outer black. Good start for Lexi Delbray.
I like that mix of pitches that she threw to Maddie Hayden there. Going in and then surprising her on the outside corner with that drop ball that looked like it almost curved back over the plate. Could have been her backdoor. A few different spins on that pitch. That's tricky.
What was interesting about her start against UCF, went 7 innings, but only had 1 strikeout. First pitch to Carly Heath, power to center field. Back goes Falby, leaps up, makes the catch right in front of the wall. Long run for Kendra Falby, utilizing that speed as Carly Heath gave it a ride. But starting lineup for the Florida Gators. Kendra Falby will lead off. Kendra Falby's had an outstanding weekend. She has gone 7 for 7 over the first 2 games. Wallace Eccles in the top 3. Of course, Gigante has had a big weekend. Gators coming off an 8-0 victory against the Mercer Bears. Megan Shorman enters in 5-3 with a 2.51 ERA.
And Megan Shorman, she's a sure thing in this circle, someone that has a rise ball, a backdoor, but speed and spin is her game, very similar to her counterpart in Lexi Delbray. So if she is on, she's producing a lot of swings and misses on that rise ball. Ironically, the last time I saw her pitch was throwing against UCF, and she herself threw a no-hitter.
Yeah. 5 innings and what was a run rule victory, 8-0 over UCF. That was on February 21st. She had 4 strikeouts that night. So maybe you're the good luck charm for Megan Shorman.
Well, we'll see after
She's
this game.
happy when she sees you.
She hasn't smiled yet when she saw me, though.
1 strike pitch to Falby. I'll tip that into the glove, 0-2. The weekend for Falby, 1, 2, a number of infield hits, 5 infield hits for Kendra Falby of her 7. Along with 2 doubles. Shorman's 0-2. Shorman from Hazelwood, Missouri, transfer from Kentucky. Last year, led the staff in ERA, just north of a 2 ERA. Most strikeouts on the group, 184. Got better as the year went along. Best month was the month of May when she went 23 1/3 innings, allowed just 1 earned run. He helped pitch Louisiana to the Sun Belt Championship game. Finished up last year 17-6. Just off the outer half. Count evens 2-2.
No, that's a good pitch. That's basically what Shorman likes to do. Try to get ahead with her rise ball, produce those swings and misses, and then try to surprise the batter with that backdoor in the outside corner. Liking the strategy so far early on in the game.
Gators have scored 6 first-inning runs over the last 2. And the production this weekend throughout the lineup. And this has been 2 games where Skylar Wallace maybe hasn't been as center stage as we're used to her being, but whether it's Falby, Eccles, Gigante, Pollard, Reagan Walsh, it's been balanced 1 through 9. 2-2 coming. Again, doesn't dot that outside corner, count full.
I think it's a good take, though, from Falby. If you saw the catcher's mitt, Pisco's, that ball took her up higher in the zone. So Falby showing that she's disciplined on that rise ball and that pitch particularly.
Payoff. Fights that off foul.
I said on that pitch particularly because that rise ball is so deceptive that you might take it one time, but then the next time you might swing and miss. Or maybe you hit it as a home run. That's kind of...
You never laid off the rise, right? You found a way to get to it.
Well, that was something Coach Walton always said. He's like, hey, look, it doesn't look like you can lay off the rise, so we need to teach you how to hit it. And I was like, that's a better strategy. I like that one.
Falby swings through it for strike 3, so Shorman wins the battle, 1 up, 1 down.
Now wins the battle off of her backdoor curveball with this pitch. Take a look. Goes right on the outside corner, and I think actually that might have supposed to have been a curve on the outside corner as you saw the catcher Pisco set up. Doesn't matter, it was effective anyway for a K.
That's the first time Falby's been retired all weekend. Here's Skylar Wallace hitting .474. Really has not gotten a whole lot to hit besides being hit. It's been hit 3 times. Has walked once. The big gap out in left center field for Wallace, playing her closer to the line with Maddie Hayden. There you see the big gap.
That just means that they're going to be pitching Skylar Wallace extremely carefully, making sure that they hit her on the inside corner so she cannot get her hands extended. And if it's going to be outside, it has to be like 1 or 2 balls outside that plate. I mean, right now we're just seeing her dance around that plate and not wanting to potentially leak anything over the heart of it.
And for the most part, it's been primarily 3-ball counts that Wallace has faced. Quickly 3-0. Shorman 5-3 with a 2.51 ERA. Unleashes home. Ball 4. So same story for Wallace, not a whole lot to hit. We'll see how long it takes for her to take off. 52 stolen bases last year, program record. And here is Charlotte Eccles, who does not want this weekend to end. And another RBI in the game against Mercer. 7 RBI yesterday, career high. Now up to 33 for the season. His RBI in her last 7 games. Little pitch out.
We can tell they know the power that Charlotte Eccles possesses. Their entire infield is playing behind the base runner's path. So they're looking for that hard ground ball so they can quickly turn 2 and get out of this inning.
One. Wallace takes off, lofted in the air towards Davis in center. Comes in to make the catch. Wallace retreats to first.
Those are the kind of outs Megan Shorman wants to continue to get, especially against the biggest threat in this lineup. Eccles was early on that rise ball, just becomes an easy fly ball out.
Now here's Olivia Gigante, 3rd consecutive game, starting at the cleanup. Singled in the first game against Mercer, 2 home runs last night, along with 4 RBI. Wallace takes off, at least bluff towards second.
Ooh, did she trick you?
She did.
Ah.
She's so explosive on that quick bluff step towards second base.
I mean, that's a strategy. That's a thing you're wanting to do, that every time you take your lead, it is looking like you're actually going to steal the bag.
I say she goes here. Nope.
0
Pop
for
foul.
2. 0 for 2.
That's right, especially in stick and ball sports, you keep swinging away.
I'm gonna say 1-1. No, I don't think
No.
we move her here.
Wallace watch is underway. 1-1 count here with 2 outs. Takes off, swung through, throw down, Wallace is in. Gets away, Wallace gets up, will sprint towards third. Coach Walton says get down. So 2 bags for Skylar Wallace. Gets a stolen base, and the Gators set up with the go-ahead run at third.
This is what speed does. You're able to put pressure on the defense and force them to make clean plays. She takes off aggressive. This ball from Peace Coast is well out of the base path area. And Wallace knows the moment it goes to the green that she's fast enough to safely get to third base.
11 for 11 on the year in stolen bases. Throwing error on the catcher, Piscos. The 1-2 to Gigante. Here it comes. As a staff, Louisiana sub-3 ERA, 2.97. Mentioned the tough schedule they had coming in. Elite competition. They've still won 10 of their last 13 games. Gigante lifts this in the air. That'll get out of play. They played a lot of games here in the state of Florida, including the Bubbly Invitational. They'll play 12 games in the state of Florida.
They played in that Clearwater tournament. Yep. They got tested pretty well there. Faced a lot of good competition. Another
1-2. Gigante swings. Could the sun play an issue for Maddie Hayden? No, she makes the catch with shading her eyes at first. But Gigante flies out. Gators leave Wallace at third. Shorman gets the job done as the Gators do leave that runner. Still no score through one. Still no score. One inning complete. Heading now to the second inning of work for Lexi Delbray. Sophie Piskos, Stormy Kotzelnick, and Jordan Campbell will hit here in the top of the second. Louisiana 15-8. Gators at 17-3. Have won 6 straight games. Louisiana's won their last 2. First pitch, Piskos skies that out to shallow right center. Falvey's got the shades on. Kendra made that great play to end the first inning. That one a little bit easier. Got a chance to talk to Jerry Glasgow earlier this week. He talked about how young his team is, Francesca, right? 7 or 8 freshmen and sophomores in total that could be in this lineup at any given day. He just wants to make sure, because of the gauntlet of a schedule they've had, that he wants to make sure they remain confident through all the losses that they've had in this tough schedule.
And he's seen a lot of bright spots in that tough schedule. He's seen his freshmen really step up in some of those tougher situations, and he's seen them produce when their back's been up against the wall. So he likes to see some of those flashes of what the future shows them.
Wants to see more fight late in games. They've gotten close. They haven't been able to come all the way back in some of these games where they faced, early deficits. Doesn't want his team to feel incomplete after this stretch before conference play. They're coming off a road trip where they played in Austin, Texas. Played a very good Texas Longhorn group that's 11th in the country, and a 3-2 road trip there. Both of those losses to Texas. And then the Clearwater we mentioned, they had 3 one-run losses. But they need to play, unlike, say a Mercer, who, they just need to come in, play well until conference play, win their conference tournament. Louisiana, they want to host a regional. They're looking to win some of these games because they've built the reputation to be a very good program that has to play an SEC-type schedule in the non-conference.
Actually stole a page out of Coach Cindy Ball-Malone from UCF's playbook, seeing the type of schedule that she created last year to try to set her team up to host a regional, which they ended up doing for their program's first time ever. So Coach Glasgow was like, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put us in a tough position to play some good teams in hopes that it pays out once we get to May.
Stormy Kotzelnick, 3-ball, 2-strike count. Jerry Glasgow, a veteran of the SEC. Multiple stops as an assistant, starting in Georgia with Lou Harris-Champer. Swung through for strike 3. Delbray gets another K. Her second of the game, and there's 2 gone.
That was a great pitch right there from Lexi Delbray. Hammering with her hard stuff and then follows it up with this breezy changeup. Buckles the knees. That's a beautiful pitch.
I really like that phraseology you just used, breezy change. I'm going to steal that.
Don't steal it. I mean, okay, fine, you can use it. I'll allow it.
I'm all about new descriptions and descriptors, and that's really good. I like that.
I've never gotten a compliment from you. That's awesome.
It takes breezy changeup. Here's Jordan Campbell, 260 hitter. Swings, undercuts this one to shallow left. Wallace gives way for Falvey, can't make the play. Campbell running all the way is in. Is probably might go down as a hit because it was a tough play towards the end with Falvey battling the sun and sliding in to try and make it. But that's a play that maybe some miscommunication, Francesca.
Well, I mean, I like the aggressiveness from the center fielder, Falvey. And when it comes down to who owns this, you have to call this ball if you're Falvey. Maybe you think that the shortstop Wallace doesn't have it. Maybe she can't be camped underneath it. And so in that situation, the shortstop does have to evacuate if your center fielder is calling it. But I think Falvey thought maybe it was going to be a little bit deeper than it was. And that's where the miscue came.
Officially a double for Jordan Campbell, her 3rd of the year. Coach Glasgow going to the lineup card. Pinch runner looks like is going to come in here. You'd have to think runs at a premium. Kramer Ushte will pinch run at second. Big at bat here, Alexa Langeliers has driven in 15 this year. One strike pitch, knifed in the air towards Pollard, and that will do it. So Delbray works into and out of trouble, gives up one hit in the inning. First hit of the day for Louisiana. Middle of 2, Gators will take the bats. 74 degrees and sunny. You got a lot of shade, but you don't really need it today. At the view of Caleb Pollard on deck. Reagan Walsh will lead it off. Pollard and Gales 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Gators here in the home second. Get the feeling this could turn into a pitcher's duel. It was rained out last night. Both teams waited around for about an hour. Louisiana went back to their hotel. That game, the game that was not played, will be rescheduled for tomorrow. 11:30 first pitch. You can watch that game on the SEC network. And then we'll be back with the second game of the doubleheader against Rutgers for the Gators.
Don't forget about that time change tomorrow, just so you don't miss the game.
That's right, I'll be here. I'll be doing radio. So if you want to listen to that, I don't know if anybody would want to hear that, but...
I'll listen.
No, you won't.
I do. I've done it.
You've listened to me once on radio my entire time here.
Not
I think it was
true.
by accident.
Multiple times. Multiple times.
1 and 2. You can hear the crowd that's always into it, invested in every single pitch. Reagan Walsh didn't like that call either.
It definitely was not a strike. It was a rise ball that was out of the zone, but get a hats off to the catcher, Piscos, back there for framing it up.
One, 2. Reagan Walsh hits in 11 of her last 15. At 350 opening month of play. Biggest game of the year was the game she had against Illinois State. Gators had, or that day, she had 2 home runs and 6 RBI. That's what we call the Francesca Anea game.
Only 6
Did
RBI.
that against Cal State Fullerton back in 2010. It was off the glove of Piscos, back to the backstop, 3 and 2.
We've seen that a lot so far from Shorman. It's been effective so far, so kind of showcasing that effective wildness?
Sure, I like that.
I got stuck in my mouth, sorry.
That's definitely a phrase that I've heard before,
Effectively
wildness.
wild. She's effectively wild.
Yeah, that's another way of saying it.
All right, I'm done saying the word effect.
Pitch. That caught a piece of Reagan Walsh. Will hobble down to first base. Well, there wasn't much effectiveness to that wildness, Francesca, there. It's just a flat-out hit by pitch.
I was just trying to get command over this rise ball here. Goes right at, almost looks actually more of her backdoor curveball that gets away from her. Gets Walsh on the inside of her thigh. Just wants to crumble.
Just hit that front part of the leg. There's Caleb Pollard, freshman from Riverside, California. Great start to her Gator career. 13th straight start, 7 of those in right field. Make it 14th consecutive start. Now 8 start in right field. 9 of her 12 hits have been for extra bases. Nickname of Lefty. Buzzes in for a strike, 1 and 1. Just got a piece into the glove, 1 and 2. Pollard chose Florida, was always her dream school. The environment in Gainesville, when she first stepped foot here, she said it just felt like home. She says, I know I can win a national championship here.
Love that competitive mindset. That's the type of players, too, coaches are looking to recruit into their programs. People who want to come in and buy in and be part of this culture, a winning culture.
Another one of the long list of California Gators. One sitting to my right. Pops the mid outside corner. Pollard goes down looking, so Shorman battles back, and there's now one out.
I think this is a great pitch right here from Megan Shorman. Surprising Pollard on the outside corner. And it's close, but you have 2 strikes and you have to protect. You cannot leave it up to the umpire because then you just feel like you're not able to compete. If you're unsure if it's a ball for a strike, but if it's a big strike zone, which we've seen so far today, you have to at least attempt to foul tip it.
Brings in Avery Gels. Swats the first pitch foul. Heath Walker is our home plate umpire. Eric Segaldo at first. John Cambridge is over at third. I've always said it. Heath Walker is one of the best names in umpiring. Sounds like an action movie star.
I agree with you, he does. I think he should be on like Walker, Texas Ranger or something.
Sure, yeah. I think Chuck Norris would be upset about that, but it's kind of his thing.
He can be the supporting role.
1 strike pitch to Gels. Again, for the first time introducing, at least in her collegiate career, that slap technique running through the box. Reintroduced that over the summer. Had a different element to her game. Historically, a doubles home run hitter. Florida Gatorade Player of the Year. Shoves it foul.
And I love the adjustment that she's making by going back to her slap. Just allows her to shorten up and be able to put the ball in play. She gets underneath it in that foul tip, and typically as a slapper, you want to make sure that you're still running towards the pitcher before you bail off to go to first base. As you saw, her hips were kind of facing first base while her barrel was dragging behind, which is why she got underneath it. Especially tough against a rise ball pitcher like Shorman. Got to use your top hand to stay on top.
And really had a good end to last year. Some of the biggest at-bats late in the year is where she came up the biggest. Big game in Game 3, decisive Game 3. Super Regional in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech at a 3 RBI game. Gels slaps this out to left. Hayden up against the line will haul it in. And just to finish that thought, she had 12 RBI in the regular season last year, had 6 in the NCAA tournament alone. So about half, exactly half that production in the NCAA tournament.
That's when you want to be producing as well. It's okay to save it to May.
That's right. Most important time of year. Sarah Longley bats here with 2 outs. Reagan Walsh hit first, leadoff hit by pitch. There's no hits yet. What has been an offensive barrage in the first 2 games this weekend. 14-3 win yesterday against Mercer and an 8-0 victory last time out. Riley Trilachek throwing a complete game no-hitter, second of her career. Quickly 0-2. Big spot here for Megan Shorman. 186 career innings entering the day. The no-hitter she threw against UCF earlier in the season. Knows this conference well. 3 seasons at Kentucky, 2019 and 2021. Biggest performance was a top 25 win against Oregon with the Cats. Was on pace to have a really good year in that 2020 COVID stoppage season. 7-1 with a 1-3 earned run mark. And a fresh new start with Jerry Glasgow.
There's that off speed of hers. I like how she actually called timeout to talk to her catcher, Piscos. I think she wanted to understand where Longley was standing in the batter's box to try to help determine where she's going to go with the height for her rise ball and that off speed. Longley's someone who usually stands all the way in the back of the batter's box. It changes the eyes for a pitcher and where her location is.
Went upstairs that time for the strikeout. Megan Shorman fired up. Second K in that inning, third for the game. Gators leave Reagan Walsh at first. No runs, no hits, one left through two, no score. Ballpark slides at the top of the third, no score. Top 25 matchup, Florida and Louisiana. I want to see if we see got some Louisiana red over there behind their dugout. So you got a contingent, made the trip here. Certainly outnumbered.
And they travel pretty well. I would say it's probably one of my favorite ballparks to play in at Louisiana.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that World Series game, or are we just going to pretend that didn't happen in 2008?
Well, I still want to talk about playing on their field because they always have this big barbecue set up and behind right
really?
field. Yeah, and I played there as a pro for the MPF for the Pride, and they were like throwing me fried gator. It was like, this is good.
This rolled sharply to the 5-6 hole base hit. Served the other way by Lauren Allred. And a leadoff hit. That is the second hit of the game against Lexi Delbray. Did you have any fried gator?
Of course I did.
How was it?
It's delicious. Tastes just like chicken. A little spicier.
I mean, I guess I could have, if nobody told me that it was gator and I ate it, I'd be like, okay, this is fine, but pummeled in the air. Kylie Griffin, first pitch hack. Kistler over towards the gap, one away.
I was always intrigued to try fried gator after watching Waterboy, my friend Bobby Boucher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Gator James Bates was in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the rival linebacker, I believe.
Oh, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Little Gator trivia for those out there. Here's Maya Davis, top of the lineup for Louisiana. Takes outside for ball one. What a year that Davis has had. Missed 10 games with a hand injury and still has found a way to steal 22 bases. Came in to the weekend, fourth nationally, hitting .462 at the top. Smacks this to left center. Falby playing shallow and shaded that way. And Davis has not been on the base paths yet. That's a big win for the Gators. But since returning from that injury, Davis has been back for 12 games, has hit .447 during that stretch, has stole 19 bases.
I know I'd like to see the foot race between Maya Davis and Kendra Falby.
Oh, yeah.
They're both extremely fast.
No exaggeration, as Maddie Hayden stands in, fouls this off. You got three of the best base stealers in the country all playing in the same game.
I'll agree with that.
Wallace, Falby, and Davis.
Just adds such a different element to the threat that you possess as an offense. Like well, I mean, these two teams, truly, they have a ton of power spread out throughout their entire lineup, but then they also have a lot of speed in it. They can shorten up when they need to, but they can also find the gaps.
High hopper, Hayden bounces towards second. Walsh, rhythm toss on to first for the out. Nice play by Reagan Walsh. Again, manning that new position on the right side of the infield. Not a whole lot of offense yet. One hit in that frame, but no runs for Louisiana. Going back-to-back into 11 Women's College World Series. They need one more year to even out that rectangle, Francesca. If you look at that left center field wall.
Is it bothering you?
It is.
I bet you it bothers.
The OCD in me is
I bet it bothers Coach Walton too.
No.
Like on so many different levels.
Well, you mentioned the story about how there's a little blade of grass in the infield dirt. He'd run, pick it up, throw it in the outfield.
I actually saw it too in the last inning. After they got out, he was kicking some dirt off the grass to put it back to where it belongs on the warning, or not the warning track, the dirt little area there near the dugout. Very meticulous.
And just think how good groundskeeper Smiley is at his job, Stephen Peters, and how meticulous he has to be to fit the expectations of Tim Walton on a daily basis.
I think it was a happy marriage because they're both pretty much on
the same, right?
Yeah.
Well, it shows in the field. Beautiful field. Just sparkling in the sunlight right now. Big gap out to left center for Kistler. Shorman, third inning of work, unleashes home. 904. Just take a look at the great venue that Walton built. I think you could say that. Since the renovation, kind of coined it that, and I've told him that. This is essentially the place that he built. His success, the players that have come through, so many All-Americans. Led to 904 Florida victories as head coach.
I mean, you go back to, the earlier game we were calling against Mercer with the head coach, Lindsay Fico, who was a player for Coach Walton in her senior season when he stepped into this program. And she said it, like he was going to win national championships just by the way that he coached and just the dreams that he had, the vision that he was able to see it.
I think the consistency in which he's done it within the toughest conference, or at least has emerged into the toughest conference, wasn't always that in the SEC. 9 SEC regular season championships. He's won 5 of the last 7.
Well, I mean, him and Patrick Murphy, Beth Tarina, truly helped elevate the strength of the SEC. You go back to the beginning of his career here, and you're right, like SEC was not known to be a softball powerhouse, but when you look through the years of 2007, that was when SEC started really knocking on the door, saying like, look at us, here we are.
Count remains full to Katie Kistler. It's the second fastest to 1,000 career wins, second fastest to 900 career victories. Fastest, Mike Andrea.
It's good company to be with.
Since retired. Getting set for that 1,000th Gator victory. Mary Wise has done that. Gator volleyball head coach as Kistler goes right past the originator for the Gators' first hit. Turns the lineup over here for Kendra Falby.
And it's so important to make sure that you're communicating with your teammates as much as possible. So Katie Kistler's in that 9-hole, and pretty much every one of her teammates prior to her has probably told her, hey, you got to get on top of that rise ball. Someone's got to make an adjustment and see that top half, and that's what Kistler does. She fouled off a few where she got underneath it, but then was able to let it get deep and get on top of it.
So first hit given up here by Megan Shorman. Falby pops this straight up, and Piscos just throws off the mask. A rear bunt not laid down by Kendra Falby, and a big first out.
And it all goes back to that rise ball. As a batter, when you know that upspin is coming, you have to be super hyper focused on only staring at the top half of that ball.
It's got to be borderline impossible to lay down a bunt against a good rise ball.
I can't say it's impossible, but it's definitely tough.
Very tough.
Yes. And you kind of like, you have to have a conversation with yourself on when you're going to, when you're going to bunt for it and when you're not. Like, where is it going to be to where you attempt to get after it or where you have to pull it back?
Wallace smokes one to first. Diving play by Allred and tags first for a double play. Took away an extra base hit from Wallace. Just snagged it. What a play.
You see Allred, the first baseman, saw this all the way, laying out and doubling up to get her team out of this inning.
Catch it first. gets rid of any threat for Florida in that inning. Pitchers duel so far, no score. It's kind of what we signed up for, right, Francesca?
Absolutely. You know, if I thought this was going to be an offensive blast, I would not have signed up for it.
You just wouldn't have. You
wouldn't
wouldn't have
put
come.
my name. Wouldn't put my name down.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Me too. We just have no announcers. I think there's a lot of people out there that would like that.
No.
Maybe one
They
half of
love
the
us.
booth.
They love us.
Yeah, they love you.
No,
That's what happens when you're a Gator grade.
No, we're a team.
Carly Heath fouls that one off. 0-1. Big shift on her. Heath had a, it's interesting, she had a deep fly ball where Falby kind of caught it in the left center field alley. And you got Falby still to the right of straight up center.
The scouting report on Heath is that she likes to pull the ball.
Right on cue. Sometimes those scouting reports, I'll tell you, they work.
Occasionally.
Delbray gets a big out, and Carly Heath has had a really good year, hitting over 360 with 19 driven in. Sophie Piscos went out bat. She's 0 for 1, flew out to center as well. Similar shift on for her. The outfield wrapped around to the right. For those that haven't followed along till now, and Lexi Delbray hadn't pitched till February 19th, didn't have an off season. Had off-season surgery right after the World Series, didn't pitch for a couple months, and was building up week of the season when the Gators went to Tampa. She was, pitching about 60 pitches in a bullpen without facing live batters, worked up to that eventually, and then on a pitch limit, made her first start on February 19th. Has yet to give up an earned run now, in 19 innings coming in. Now 22 innings spotless. Two-one, bounced foul, steers wide of third.
And really, if you look at Florida wanting to make it back to the Women's College World Series, they're going to need Lexi Delbray at her very best. Same thing with Elizabeth Hightower. It's been really the theme for pretty much every single collegiate softball team is pitch by committee. Not a lot of them just have a Montana Fouts that can go the distance. You need to make sure that you have 4 strong arms.
2-2 right past Delbray. She had to skip rope. Surfs into center for a base hit. Sophie Piscos has her first hit of the game, and the third for Louisiana.
Louisiana has been seeing that drop off from Delbray pretty well, being able to time it up, use their legs just to pound it back in the ground. Liking their approach so far.
Yeah.
Take a look at this pitch. It's actually a little bit more elevated, and she was able to get on top of it. The way that you saw Longley set up, I think she wanted it to be lower, but instead it floated up high.
And that's the adjustment that once you face these better teams, they're going to make you pay for certain mistakes in location. Delbray passing with flying colors in the best lineup she had faced to this point against UCF on Wednesday. Right back up the middle again, same spot right near the feet of Delbray into center field. Stormy Kotzelnick has a base hit. And now Louisiana set up first and second with 1 out.
He hits it back in the same spot, but the location of this pitch is in the same spot. It's belt high. And you said it, Kyle, these are great hitters, and you cannot leave that ball in their wheelhouse, and they're going to make you pay. Now we're going to see Louisiana being able to have a threat here in the 4th inning.
It's up to Jordan Campbell. Was ruled a double on a little looping fly ball to shallow left center. Rafalbi couldn't make a diving catch, got away far enough where Campbell could get into second. Now bats with first and second. First pitch is low. It's a lineup that has had 10 different players hit at least 1 home run. 3 batters hitting over 300. Came in top 50 in batting average in the country as a team. They have a record of 12-4 when they score first. Delbray works ahead, 1-2. There's Jerry Glasgow. Started at Georgia. Lou Harris-Champer gave him his first chance at this level to be an assistant coach. 3 stops in the SEC. This gets away Longley. Both runners move up. So a wild pitch will set up runners at second and third now.
It's tough as a catcher when that ball gets in the dirt and you have base runners on. It's not only try to block it and keep it in front of you, but you also need to try to almost create like a cave in your body so that the ball could try to bounce right in front of you so you can scoop it and try to throw that runner out, but that bounced pretty far away from her.
Ground ball, infield pinched in. Wallace comes home. They got the runner in a rundown. Piscos gets tagged out. Runner off second. They got her now in a pickle. Walsh over to Wallace. It's a double play. Oh, a nightmare scenario for Louisiana. And the Gators' sparkling defense steps front and center. What in the world just happened? If you're scoring at home, there's a lot of numbers that are in this play here. So Francesca, take me through this sequence here. What a crazy sequence of events.
I mean, the pickle is so difficult to defend sometimes because you can get caught just running that runner back too many times, but Florida defends it perfectly. Hold on to the ball and run the runner back as long as you can, and then as you start to gain that ground, then you flip it and go for the tag. When you do a pickle, you only want to have at most 3 throws. I don't know, that took me back to like Sandlot style of like Porter yelling, "Pickle!"
But it's moments like that that get practice at nauseum in this ballpark by Tim Walton. Those weird scenarios. You could tell the Gators were ready for it. Try to get you the official scoring on that too. 1-0 to Eccles. Gators continuing to gain some momentum here, and Eccles continues a red-hot weekend with a single to center field.
That's why those plays can be so important. Taking that momentum from the defense and carrying it over to your offense approach. And that's what Charlotte Eccles just did. Made it look so simple.
The final outs went 6-2 to 5-4 to 6. Equals 2 outs.
Sounds like a dance step.
Gigante, towering fly ball towards the corner. We'll head over that 2015 signage.
I do feel like practicing a pickle is almost like a lost art, but there really is like a science to it. No more than 3 throws, run that runner back to the base that they came from, and shorten that gap. So simple.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Gigante lofts one to right, does have some carry, still carrying towards the wall. And it's caught by Campbell. That one had an extra giddy up to it. Not a whole lot of wind here at the ballpark, but that forced Campbell all the way to the warning track.
Shorman's just happy that it stayed in the ballpark. But again, you know, with the spin that she produces out of her hand, she knows that those are the type of outs she wants to see.
And how deflating that last inning for Louisiana. Back-to-back base hits, first and second, and then second and third after a wild pitch with 1 out. Here's Reagan Walsh. Heavy hack and a foul back for strike 1.
You know, as a pitcher, when you see your team runs themselves out of a scoring opportunity, that's when as a leader you tell yourself, all right, I got to gain some momentum back on our side. I have to go out there and try to shut down this offense so that my team doesn't feel like we're out of it.
Senior right-hander. Fires it in. Couple of home run swings here from Reagan Walsh.
As a batter, there's a good thing and a bad thing about a rise ball pitcher, facing a rise ball pitcher, is that the ball is elevated. So if you can get your barrel there, it's going to go, and it's going to go far. However, the ball continues to elevate, and then you can swing and miss. Especially if a pitcher sees that you bait on it, they're just going to continue to climb the ladder.
Walsh swings away, floats it down the left field line, foul. One of her first memories of the Gators for Reagan Walsh was the Women's College World Series. Watching the Gators play the Alabama Crimson Tide. Knew from that point on, always wanted to be a Gator. Rolls this to the right side base hit. Almost kind of served it with that swing the opposite way.
This just makes Reagan Walsh so good. This was an off-speed pitch where her body weight was completely out in front, but she keeps her hands back. It's okay if your lower half goes, but keep your hands back so you have a fighting chance. And she's able to shoot it to the right side, and the second baseman, Langliers, was pinched up the middle because why not? Reagan Walsh is a pull hitter. She's going to go with that outside pitch, more than likely be up the middle, but she beats the shift and is able to get that single with her hands.
Classic, hit it where it's pitched.
Classic.
Classic. That's the name of the Francesca Anea book one day, when you write a book on hitting.
What?
Hit it where it's pitched.
Do I say that a lot?
No,
Okay.
That's the first time. I'm just saying, I'm giving you my ideas right out of my brain.
Oh, right out of your brain.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Caleb Pollard hits in a big spot here, first and second, so the roles reversed. Now the Gators in the bottom half of the inning, 2 on with 1 out. Shorman delivers. There's a strike. Official gun inside the stadium had that at 68. That's a new difference this year with the giant video board. You got the speeds on the big screen out in left center. Foul tipped into the glove. Shorman. Giant scream after getting the strikeout. Boy, that's a big one.
Now she knows how important this moment is. She struck out Pollard in her last at-bat and is able to get her to swing through again. This is her low rise ball. Pollard swings right through it.
Gators 0 for 2 with 2 outs so far in this one. Gales again, that slap technique went around for strike 1. Quickly 0-2. Gators entered today hitting .375 with runners in scoring position. .321 with 2 outs. Big 0-2 to number 2 Avery Gels. Here it comes. High chopper, back up the middle, tough play, nice snag by Griffin. It goes the short way for the final out of the inning. So the Gators threaten do not score at 2 on and 1 out. 2 hits in the inning, but no runs. Remains scoreless through 4. Finally, Stephen Peters, head groundskeeper here at KSP doing the YMCA. He's perfected that throughout the years. How many times do you think he's done that dance?
A lot.
A
I think
lot.
he might, like, has to stretch too before.
Yeah,
I would
that's
think.
a lot.
Yeah, because he like goes 100% into it. There's no holding back. He's hard on the Y, hard on the MCA.
And the job he does on the field, just how pristine it looks, the outfield grass. He has the great artwork that he does on Sunflower Saturdays behind home plate. Just like you said, it's a match made in heaven with Tim Walton.
Very detailed.
Him and his whole crew, outstanding work, especially weekends like this where you have so many games and you have the bad weather and the field can get torn up.
The Gator standard.
That's right. Alexa Langeliers will hit. Native of Keller, Texas. What have you liked from Lexi's start so far?
I like that she's attacking the zone. She did that as well in yesterday's start, just being able to get ahead of these batters and produce effective quick outs. We've seen a lot of swings early on in the count from the Cajuns. That's because those pitches from Delbray look so good, but she continues to get spin off of them, so she's getting broken swings.
Rocked in the air, left center field. Falby turns, looks, it's gone. Alexa Langeliers with a celebration rounding the bases. And just like that, it's 1-0 Louisiana.
Well, I think Alexa Langeliers heard me say broken swing and was like, how about this strong swing? That's what she did. Gets this pitch that is on the outside corner and times it up exactly how you need to. Body weight behind it, hands are out in front of her body, and uses all of that torque to torque it out of this ballpark.
Just underneath that scoreboard, Langeliers' 5th home run of the year. And on the 5th hit, it's Louisiana who takes a 1-run lead. Langeliers came into the day one of her last 13 for that home run. Lauren Allred undercuts this to right center. Falby, the center fielder. Nice matrix bend as she caught that ball.
Trying to fight off that sun, it's tough.
Yeah, even with the shades on out in center.
This becomes like really blinding. You have to just make sure like you're trusting it and try to just see it when you can. And then bail if you lose it.
Getting to the time of day where the shadows will start to take effect and could it affect the batters. And the shadows slowly creeping out. Right now near Heath Walker, home plate umpire. Play a more significant role as we hit, well, we're in the later innings, but maybe in the 6th and the 7th. 1-0. Tumbled on to second. Walsh goes underhand to first. Good bounce back here from Delbray.
And as a pitcher, and especially a pitcher in the SEC, when you know you're going up against some of the toughest offense that there is, you have to have a short-term memory. You have to be able to put a big hit, like a home run behind you, and focus on what's up next, because you have to trust that your offense has your back and can pick you up. I mean, you still have to be able to score a run to win a game, and Florida hasn't been able to figure that part out yet from an offensive side. So if I'm Lexi Delbray, I still have to be focused on the task at hand and trust her spin.
Corner infielder is playing in right now for Maya Davis. Has yet to get on in 2 ABs. There's 10 games with a broken hand, made an incredible diving catch against LSU. Little chopper foul. Jerry Glasgow said that it's one of the best players he has ever coached. Just a special athlete. Compared her to Michelle Moultrie. Gator great. Just got a piece here to stay alive 0-2.
Raw talent, lots of speed, and eager to win, like eager to want to be one of the best players that's out there. Sometimes he feels like he has to hold her back so she doesn't like hurt herself even more.
0-2 rolled over. Gels will win the foot race to the bag. So Delbray, nice response after giving up that home run. Alexa Langlier's Francesca breaks the scoreless tie here in this game.
Yeah, Alexa Langliers gets a pitch that's elevated and just turns on this to get her team on the board. Raging Cajuns feeling good here in Gainesville.
So we'll start with the lower third of the lineup, 8, 9, and 1. Trail by 1. Alexa Langlier's the solo home run. We'll have a change defensively. Victoria Valdez will now play at third. Stormy Kotzelnick was over there, so a change defensively for Louisiana as they've taken the first lead of this game. Longley leads it off, has struck out in her lone AB against Megan Shorman. This is popped up in back of second. Langliers, right now the star of the day, makes the catch.
Megan Shorman just cruising in the circle. She's had a few threats, but has been able to come up with some pretty big pitches. Trusting her defense behind her as well. She just looks like she's in the groove, being able to spin that rise ball and set these Gators batters up to continue to swing and produce those pop-ups.
22 career wins, career record of 22-9. First pitch to Katie Kistler, tag foul. She's had some really good tests early this year. Oklahoma State picked up the loss in 3 1/3. Pitched against Arkansas. Did not allow a run over 4 1/3. Was a no decision. Did have 6 strikeouts against that offense. Went 2/3 of an inning against UCLA. The no-hitter she threw against UCF is pitched against LSU, Ole Miss. 7 strikeouts against the Rebels. Also pitched against Texas twice. It's that really, like we mentioned, Louisiana's had a tough schedule, but Megan Shorman has faced some really good lineups.
She seems to get better too as this season is progressing, understanding, okay, so Texas hits this pitch, so what wasn't working that day? Maybe I need to get this rise ball up just a 1/4 of an inch. Maybe I need to utilize my backdoor a little bit more when I'm seeing hitters sit on my rise ball. So as the season continues to grow, she's learning, she's being a student, and she's trying to perfect her spin so that she can be effective for her team.
That was the case last year. It got better as the year went along. Best month was the month of May in that Sun Belt tournament. Program that's won 3 straight Sun Belt championships. Overall, I've dominated that conference. Two balls, 2 strikes, here with 1 out. Kistler stays alive.
They really have dominated that conference continuously or continually to win the conference and the conference tournament. A few years ago, they had Texas State battle them a few times, but that was really it. The only contender in there for them.
Two. Foul back.
That was then when you had the great Kat Osterman as the associate head coach for Texas State. Oh, is that what you were trying to pull from?
I was just about to Google to make sure I wasn't saying something wrong.
You don't need to Google, just ask me.
Francesca knows it all. She's got it all in her head.
Ricky Woodard and Kat Osterman?
Mm-hmm. Just missed. Count full. So if the Gators get a base runner here, you turn the lineup over with 1 out.
I don't know if Megan Shorman's going to want that to happen. That was a good pitch she just had. I don't know how that does not get called a strike. It's pretty close.
Kistler is 1 for 1. Payoff. Good at bat.
This is the best patience that we have seen from a Gator batter, forcing Shorman to bring that rise ball down. We've seen a lot of good takes from Kistler. So that's why Shorman hasn't been able to climb the ladder on the rise ball, but that is her bread and butter pitch.
See, 9th pitch of the AB. We'll do it again. Does this get out of play? Valdez over, makes the catch, has room. How about the effort from Coach Walton to get out of the way over there?
That's tough because you never know what route the infielder is going to take to try to get to that ball.
So the 9-pitch marathon goes to Megan Shorman. Base is still empty for the top of the lineup. Gators 3 hits. So they amassed 25 hits in the first 2 games of the weekend. Falby sends this sky high left side. Grab made. That's Vasquez now playing at short for the final out of the inning. Louisiana still a 1-run lead, heading to the final 2 scheduled frames in Gainesville. Delbray, the lone blemish, home run given up to lead off the 5th to Alexa Langeliers, her 5th of the year. And that's where we stand. Although Lexi Delbray, look at the line, has done a really good job against a top 25 team in 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, that 1 run, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Biggest thing in her last few starts, the command that she's had of her pitches. She's thrown now 54 pitches, 39 strikes. 2-0 to Maddie Hayden. He was 0 for 2, is struck out, grounded out to second. Rolled over to Gels. Easy play for her.
Those are the kind of outs that we've seen Lexi Delbray get throughout this entire game. Quick, efficient beginning of the count. I mean, really the only blemish that she has had is that solo home run that she gave up to Langeliers, and it was a pitch that was right down the middle.
Carly Heath uppercuts this to right field. Pollard again battling that sun. Journeys in for the catch. 1 pitch for the second out. Distribution of outs, 7 apiece. 7 ground outs, 7 flyouts now.
That makes sense for someone like Delbray, whose 2 best pitches are a rise ball and a drop ball. When she's really, 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 really good, she also is able to use that off speed as well. That's when she becomes pretty much unhittable.
Piscos will hit with 2 gone, bases empty. Delbray's done her job, and now looking ahead to the bottom of the 6th inning, you got the heart of the Gator lineup. Wallace, Eccles, and Gigante coming up. In a 1-run game, at least for now.
They say the 3rd time that you face a pitcher, you got to make your adjustments off of them. You have to make some type of a difference if you are struggling to figure that pitcher out, whether it is front of the batter's box, back of the batter's box, choke up.
Whipped in the air to center. Falvey was shaded towards right center, makes the catch. That's the 8th flyout that Delbray has induced of this Louisiana lineup. She's been great, so has Megan Shorman. What has Shorman got against 2, 3, and 4? Wallace, Eccles, and Gigante up on the other side.
Cajun, she's had 4 Ks on the day, utilizing her backdoor curveball, able to get some swings and misses with her rise ball as well. And the Florida Gators have not determined how do we make an adjustment off of Megan Shorman. Her rise ball has just been so good. 9 fly ball outs so far.
You got the 9 flyouts, has thrown 80 pitches, 4 strikeouts over 5 innings. Now you face the toughest part of the lineup in the 6th inning. This is a ballpark where it's hard to get those final 6 or 3 outs, especially with a 1-run lead. And if Wallace gets on, you can probably bet she might be taking off to try and get in a scoring position for Eccles.
Well, what's so tricky to face a pitcher like someone like Shorman is not only does she have that tight spin, but it doesn't come in at a high velo. Now, the hardest we've seen her throw is 66 miles per hour, but that's when her ball's moving straight. When it's spinning, it's like 62. And as a batter, it's very easy to pull yourself off of that pitch because it's not traveling that fast. So you have to see the spin deep, let it travel farther into your body, and then as you decide to swing, keep your barrel long through that zone. You cannot pull off on it.
Two and one.
See a lot of batters trying to always come up with the approach of focusing on going opposite field for a pitcher who has more spin than speed, because that forces you to stay on the ball and to let it travel deep. So sometimes it's just the mental talk that you have with yourself of how you make that adjustment.
Still that big gap out in left center field. Now it's a 3-1 count. Wallace walked on 4 pitches in the first, lined it to a double play. There's that gap. Really both alleyways, a lot of room. Had an extra base hit taken away and a line drive to first. That was in the 3rd inning. 3-1. Ball 4. So Wallace, an elite base stealer. How quick before maybe she tries to get into scoring position as the tying run? You do have Eccles up.
I just think it's important to make sure that the Gators are communicating to one another and seeing that take right there from Skylar Wallace, that rise ball. That's a pitch that pretty much every Gator batter has been baited on. But if you prove to Megan Shorman that you're not going to swing on it, you're forcing her to lower that pitch and get you something good to tee up.
Eccles has been the star of the weekend. First pitch strike.
They know the power that Charlotte Eccles has, so take a look at this infield. They are playing deep. They know that she's not going to try to put a bunt down, so they're thinking, let's roll this up and get our team out of here.
Quickly down in the hole, 0-2.
And typically without the 2 strikes, or if we didn't have 2 strikes, you know, maybe you would think tight ball game, have her bunt, but nope. They know the power that she has, so they're playing well behind that baseline.
Shorman has pitched to Jem here in the 6th. Eccles strikes out. Went fishing on a pitch high and away.
That's a confidence pitch right there for Megan Shorman, going up against one of the deadliest hitters in this lineup, and you strike her out on 3 straight pitches, going with that rise ball.
Now it's up to the freshman, Olivia Gigante. Tying run on base. Wallace just bluffs. This is popped up. So first pitch pops up to third for the out.
See, Olivia was all the way back in the batter's box, and she swings at that rise ball. Again, we talked about this earlier. If you're going to make an adjustment, if you go all the way in the back, you can't swing at it. And that's why she got jammed and produces the easy pop-up. If you're going to swing on it, you got to go in the front of the batter's box.
Now it's up to Reagan Walsh, who's been on twice today, hit by a pitch and singled. Wallace still at first. Takes off, pop foul. Just pounding the strike zone right now.
Pounding the strike zone with that rise ball.
Put this into perspective. This would be the best win that Louisiana would have on the resume all year. They beat number 14 LSU. It's actually the only loss that LSU has all year. Runner takes off, and another lazy pop fly to short. And Shorman makes quick work of the Gators after that 5-pitch walk to Wallace. A strikeout and a pair of infield pop-outs. Head to the final scheduled frame. Back, they got like the covering up there. Nice little setup up on the berm. 1-0 game, Louisiana in the lead. Alexa Langlier's home run against Lexi Delbray in the 5th. That is your difference right now in a top 25 matchup. A lot of eyes on this one around the country. And Louisiana 3 outs away from closing out a victory against Florida. They'll play again tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. That'll be on the SEC Network. There's Victoria Valdez who will hit. Lexi Delbray has really looked good in this start.
I agree with you. She's been looking pretty strong. You mentioned it earlier, just the one mistake that she had down the middle, and that was the home run that Langliers took advantage of.
Certainly looks like the ace of this staff. Was originally on a pitch count, first coming back from that injury. Right now, over 60 pitches. Floats one in the air, does Valdez to left. Kistler circles underneath it. And there's one out. Be interesting to see if Delbray can go back-to-back days tomorrow and maybe pitch that first game of the doubleheader against Louisiana. So Hightower get the win yesterday, but certainly didn't look as crisp as she can in what was a 14-3 win. Jordan Campbell, little cue shot back to Delbray, underhands the first. Looking ahead, Francesca, you have 6, 7, and 8 for the Gators. So it'll be Pollard, Gales, and Longley at least slated to hit in the bottom half of the inning. But you got to get through Langliers, who homered her last time up.
And going back to Lexi Delbray, we've said she's been efficient. 65 pitches so far in a game. Ideally, when you look at an average pitch count, somewhere between 115, so she's well below that. But going up against right now the one batter that's been able to get a good swing on a pitch.
Home run back in the 5th. Crowd wanted that call over the outside corner.
Just so hard as a pitcher, and especially as a batter, when you have an umpire that's been inconsistent with the strike zone. You don't know what to swing at, what to take, where to focus on your pitches, hitting your spots.
Alexa's brother was actually first-round draft pick of the Oakland A's. Played his college baseball at Baylor. She herself, an all-Sun Belt performer, was second-team all-conference last year. In her college debut season, hit 13 home runs. Had 30-plus runs, 30-plus hits, 30-plus RBI, and less than 100 ABs. Power on display today, and the most home runs for a Louisiana freshman since 2014 last year. "3-2. Well, not the worst thing in the world. Put her on first with 2 outs. Face the number 8 batter. That's where Delbray has really been much improved. The lower walk totals. That's just her first walk of the game. As the one wild pitch. All right, swings at it, goes to the backstop. Langeliers was taking off at the pitch. Now you got a runner in scoring position and an 0-1 count.
It looks like that they were going with a swing through with the steal on, so not necessarily a hit and run, but just trying to swing through the pitch to get that barrel in the catcher Longley's eyesight so that Langeliers can easily get to second base.
The crowd was, I don't know if they're barking for a possible foul tip. This lofted out to Kistler, an awkward staggered step. Makes the catch. Last chance to dance for the Gators on their home field. Top 25 matchup. So, of course, you got some drama. Gators down a run. Last chance, bottom of the 7th. Easy when you have to get the final 3 outs in this ballpark. The rally caps are out for the Florida Gators. 1-0 game. Alexa Langeliers home run in the 5th. That is the difference. Sam Rowe will hit in the 6th spot for Caleb Pollard. Megan Shorman trying to go the distance. First pitch swung through for strike 1.
Megan Shorman has been so good in this game, and she is looking to try to close this out. Laser focused in her movement and the task at hand, and that has to come away with a huge win.
It's gone the distance once. Had that no-hitter against UCF. So the Gators to 3 hits today. Nothing but zeros on their line score. For runs. Good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. Strike 2 to Sam Rowe. Sam Rowe had a walk-off against UConn in a comeback victory for Florida and a little bloop single to right field. Gators had to come back down 2 runs in the late innings. Florida won 4-3. So they have a celebration at the end of this one. Shorman steps off. Rowe fights it off in the infield. Boy, it's a similar trend. How many infield pop flies have we seen over the last couple innings?
Well, that would be the 12th one.
Wow, that was pretty quick.
I have it up on the stat broadcast.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But I have it up on the stat broadcast because that is pretty much all that Shorman's been able to get from the Gators. She's just been so effective with the spin, and the inability of Florida to make an adjustment, she's exposing them.
There's now Avery Gels. Swats this on a line, twisting foul. Diving attempt there for Hayden. But even over the last 3 innings, infield pop flies, she has induced 6 of them, including 2 in the last inning. The Gators had a leadoff base runner in the 6th, could not get Skylar Wallace moved over. One and one. Former SEC product, transfer from Kentucky. Delivers the 1-1. Gell swings another infield pop fly. Vasquez for the second out, and the Gators down to their final out. It's Pal Egan. Last time she stepped to the plate, she had a bat flip. Homered out to right center. That was against Mercer. Egan hitting in the 8th spot for Sarah Longley. If she can go yard here, boy, what an introduction that would be to Gator Nation.
I don't know, she's going up against those Shorman. who's looked pretty sure-handed.
Well done. Swaggy P stands in. High strike one. Shorman on the doorstep of a complete game shutout against the number 12 team in the country. Egan was swinging for a home run. Gators down to their final strike. These two teams will do it again tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. on the SEC Network. Just one strike to get. Oh, 2. Pal Egan does a hop like a boxer before a prize fight, before she hops into that left-handed batter's box, just to pump herself up. 1-2, drill foul.
This predates you, but it's very Caitlin Lowe-esque. She would do 3 bunny hops before jumping into the batter's box.
Maybe that's where she learned it from.
It could be, because she also does that bat thing that Pal Egan does.
Ball and 2 strikes. Louisiana 1 out away. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Louisiana gets a big win on the road. Megan Shorman goes the distance. Complete game shutout. Ragin' Cajuns hold on for a 1-0 victory.
And this whole victory is for Megan Shorman. She was lights out the entire time during this game, stuck to her game plan, did not let the moment get too big for her, and that rise ball was just spinning. 13 flyouts, had 6 strikeouts, only 3 hits. Amazing job from the pitcher in the circle, Shorman.
Meanwhile, Alexi Delbray was great on the other side for Florida. Alexa Langlier is the difference. Solo home run to left center field. Louisiana wins it 1-0. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on the SEC Network, download the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Francesca and Nea, our entire crew here from KDC Show at Presley Stadium, I'm Kyle Crooks saying so long and good day from Gainesville. Tomorrow, Gators, Ragin' Cajuns do it again, 11:30 a.m. on the SEC Network.